Hey guys, Christian here with KQ Fitness. We're going to talk about another fundamental human movement pattern today, the lunge. So, continuing our series on human movement patterns and how to execute them to perfection, we're going to start with some cues that are going to take you through that move. So, first of all, we're going to establish our posture. Right? So, everything that we do in our posture here in our movements is neutrality of the back, the spine, neutrality of the neck. We want to establish that first. I'm going to start in a half kneel position. I like to take my clients to that position to start, that part of the process. So this would be considered the lower part of your lunge, right? The halfway point as you return back up to a standing position. So in this position, I'm going to curl my toes of the back foot underneath, kind of flexing towards my shin here. What I want to focus on here is establishing that I've evenly distributed the weight of my center of gravity and my upper body over both quadricep muscles. So you want an even distribution there. One to not be loaded excessively or more than the other. So in order to do that, I'm staying neutral from the waist up. I keep my hands up here close to my chest, as I like to remind my clients to keep you honest with that posture, looking straight ahead. Now what we're going to do is we're going to establish 90 degrees at this knee and this knee to be able to ensure that we're right down the middle of where we need to be. All right, we're going to press up to a standing position. Keeping the core tight, back is neutral, back down, back up. So we just established or executed a split stance lunge. A lot of trainers take their clients through this. It's a good balancing tool, good balancing exercise to train with. And essentially what you're doing is you're just establishing even weight distribution to effectively load that if I need to, whether it's a band, weights, barbell, kettlebell, whatever you have, you're establishing that even weight distribution here. All right, let's bring the feet together. Let's apply that to the forward lunge here. So a forward lunge, standing in a nice neutral position, anatomical position to start, but as I mentioned, I like to have my clients bring the hands up here and keep that posture honest. So keeping my posture neutral from the waist up. I'm going to take a step forward, landing on my heel first, rolling to my foot, or my front foot. So now my entire foot in the front is making contact with the ground in the low part. My back heel is off the ground here. As I transition back to a standing position or the return motion, I'm going to load the stabilizing side. So that's the leg that's kind of firmly entrenched in the ground. One on my left side. This one's doing most of the moving. And I'm going to toe off with that front foot here. So I've established the even distribution here, and I'm going to shift it back as I head back in that direction, pressing off the toe in the front, loading the quad on the left side, and returning to that range of motion. All right, so halfway through, press back up. This is the start of that move. Posture staying neutral, press back up. Okay, now let's do that with a reverse lunge. Similar in concept here. We're going to shift the weight towards the direction, when I say weight, the center of gravity of your body towards the direction that you're moving. So now we're going reverse. We're going to shift our weight back. So this foot's leaving the ground to start that direction, start that movement pattern. That means our quad on the left side is maximally loaded temporarily. Then we're going to shift that weight and send it back with the other leg because that's where that leg moved as we step into a reverse lunge. As we do that, keeping that neutrality of the back and the neck here from the waist up, curling the toes here like when we started with the half kneel, pressing off those toes, shifting that weight back towards the direction we're moving, the quadricep in the front, and finishing the move. Put it all together. Boom. Boom. So stopping just short of touching the knee on the ground, still pressing back up. So it's a lot of shifting or transition of weight here, loading those bigger muscle groups, specifically our quadriceps for these particular motions here. I'm going to walk you through the lateral lunge now. With that one, a lot of similar concepts to the forward reverse lunge, but also to the hinge and the deadlift, or even the squat. So as we take a step out, we're going to keep our toes pointed forward, leading with the midfoot. Take a step out to your right, nice wide step here. So at this position here, I'm shifting the weight towards that moving direction that I'm moving. I'm moving on my frontal plane now, so what divides my body in half from the front and the back. As I lower myself down towards the ground here, I'm shifting my glutes back towards the wall behind me, tilting my pelvis forward like a squat or a hinge. So the glutes are landing behind the heels of my foot. Turn back to that motion. And what's my chest doing? Keeping my chest up. By doing that and keeping the glutes behind the heel, the lower I go, tilting that pelvis, keeping that back nice and neutral, right? That back and that neck again. That's where that comes into play again. So efficiency, loading that spine, loading that effectively. So if we were to add an external load, barbell, band, dumbbells, what have you, it's going to be in a nice efficient position for your spine. Okay, so same principle there in terms of hinge in the deadlift, the squat, keeping that back and neck nice and neutral, tilting in the pelvis there. So waistband in the front, lower than waistband in the back, glutes behind the heels, but then also tying together that forward and reverse lunge of, shifting that weight in the direction that you're moving in order to maintain that equal distribution of your center of gravity on top of your quadriceps muscles here. So forward and reverse lunge has that element in terms of always trying to keep that 50-50 distribution here. Lateral lunge is a little bit different, but the fact that you are transitioning your quadriceps load to a certain direction kind of envelops that principle of your other lunges as well.